Hi, hope you're well. Um, I got kind of a grave situation to talk about tonight. Death. How do you feel about dying? Does it seem natural? Everybody says, well, all you got to do is die and pay taxes, that type of stupid jokes and all that. Um, when somebody dies, you cry and you feel that loss and all that stuff. That seems pretty unnatural to me. It never felt quite right. You see something dead and you like wiggle it. And when I saw a man in a nursing home die, um, I had a hard day. I was lucky the head nurse, she went in and cleaned him up for me and let me go on my break, but I was still pretty freaking shook. I was 18 and I was like, whoa, that was gross. I was going to shave the guy. Went up to get the razor, and weird, he was the crabbiest guy, Mr. Kin's father. And he told me to open up his shades, asked me if I would, which was different because usually he would have kind of barked it out. And so I opened the blinds and turned pictures of his kids around. Went up to get a razor. I was going to use just a double blade or a single blade. I can't remember which, a bic on them, but it was pretty thick and it would hurt them if their skin was tender. So I went up and got an electric razor and come back and he was dead. And I had the weirdest feeling too. And I like touched his hand and I was like, oh, that's a little gross. And went up and told my head nurse, I think there's something wrong with Mr. Kin's father, and I'm a nurse. Oh, oh, that was not good. But uh, I decided to get out of the retirement homes for a while. I didn't do it again until I went down to Phoenix, and then I was going to nursing school so I could go into the hospitals only, which was bad enough, but you weren't expecting their deaths just automatically type of thing, or even into hospice. But my life led me different directions after that. But yeah, that wasn't pleasant. Um, I know God's message is it was a curse put upon people that didn't respect his animals, his life, that energy. And it is not natural. There's nothing natural about pain or death. Um, and reincarnation, we all feel each other from way back when. We've all been before, but we all have not been each other or any of that. Some people believe like they're reincarnations of somebody. Oh no, you're not. You may feel your ancestors or right down to the root in your soul, but each soul is individual and you are you. You're not nobody else. I'm not nobody else. I've never been and I never will be. And that's how we are. So if I do get cut off, I'm just going to say goodnight and God bless you, and I'll be back tomorrow. But I did want to talk about that dead thing because that's pretty important. It's not a forever thing, but denying our Almighty, that is a forever thing. If you can imagine being locked up in the dark with no ears and no eyes and only your own thoughts, with not a soul to talk to for eternity. If you can imagine your energy doing that, floating off into space, so to speak, all by yourself, with no means of material, or what are you going to do? Even if you were a rat, what are you going to do? You know, rat hands are going to go in a lab and create life? You know, these are things you should ponder every day. Uh, and ask God for the answers and listen when He tells you. So that's my advice from what I know. And that's about all I can say on that one. um, Yeah, yeah, I thought it was important to get on here and tell you my viewpoint on that because, you know, there's little things like love is evil and, backwards, and little things I've heard now twice. One was an Illuminati gal I've known for a while, and she called me dear, and I told her that reminded me of my days of being a butcher, um, because I butchered deer and antelope and elk and calf and see what else. Everything. Squirrels, bunnies, chickens, goose, blah 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 blah. But and she said, oh, well, she was glad that she could bring that memory back to me. Fact of the matter is, the word dear symbolizes the slaying of Christ, and every time we call somebody dear, we're literally invoking that spell on them with that word. And yeah, certain things like love and stuff, that word, there's no replacement right now in our language, but some things we can kind of watch. And if it is kind of a strike on the wordplay, I gotta let you know. So I'll just say that, and um, I might like if next time somebody writes that, I ain't no deer. What are you? No offense, because somebody wrote that. I love her dearly. She's totally adorable. But my next response might be I'm no deer. What are you, a cow? Because in Satan's mind, all the women that follow him and help him are nothing but cows to the slaughter. They're not even lambs to be saved. So, and they think they're all going to be his number one princess. That's what he tells all the girls. How funny is that? What better way to burn somebody than to trick them with God? And if you think you're mighty and you're controlling somebody, how about an unruly wily right under your nose? What are you going to do with that? It's nothing you can do. That's terrible. God put me in a household of monsters, and it's like a little funny thing. I'd run on my toes, and I did this thing called Spider Man. I taught my kids this too. If you got the right door frame, you can put one leg on one side of the door frame, like in a house, the door jamb, usually a 36-inch door jamb, and you put your legs one on each side, starting on the bottom, and literally walk up the door jamb with the strength of your legs only. And I called them Spider-Mans, so I did some different things. Um, Totally like a kind of a wild child athletically, and they were not at, well, my dad kind of was. We used to swim, and he was big, so I'd climb up on his back and dive off him and he'd throw me really far and hope I drown probably. I don't know, or a big fish and come and get me. God knows what were in them heads. I watched him. I was on the shore with my mom one time, and my brother must have been about 6 or so. My dad, an old Navy guy, threw my brother out the side of the boat. He was trying to get him to go swimming, and I am not kidding. This is a true story. He threw my brother over the side of the boat, and he started kind of going under and under, and I was like praying, and my mom was screaming because that was her little gay boy, and it's the truth. He's a girl boy, and whatever. And um, sorry to people that I'm not gay bashing. I love everybody. I just know you're not going to be butt fucking in my dad's house. It's just the bottom line. Let's just put it the way it is. So there you go. That's that. So with that said, she was screaming about her little girl boy out there, and um, he finally did kind of doggy paddle. So whatever. Um, Yeah, well, we did take swimming lessons when we were kids and all this shit at a Catholic place called Ascension. And with people that are with affiliated minds to Illuminati, you will know what Ascension means through the Catholic Church. And that water was probably full of filth. And it was a heated pool, way too heated. So looking back on it, it was very gross. But yeah, I ascended all right. Whatever. So, think of what else is on my mind tonight. Looking up definitions for words. When you get down to like the third definition of a word, look where it comes from. And then go and look up that word in that language and see if you can find an English correlation or a Hebrew correlation, or it will say like French, FR, or SP, Spain. Look where that word comes from there. Dig maybe 5 times. Go into 5 different countries with your languages and see how many times you can see English and worldwide words correlating just in dictionaries. Once you do that, and then I could teach you the codes. If you really want to get into this, I'll teach you how to speak. Literally. I can show you the numbers in the Bible that way and how man's names are numbered right up in there. No matter how they try to hide, doesn't matter. Because where they end up is what is written. And that's the weird thing about it. You know, when God says, gee, I made this play and you're all going to be in it. And there's nothing you can do about it. And it's called School of Hard Knocks, you know. So, no, that's true. And so, if you really want to dig into words, you got to go to other countries for this. You got to find the correlations. If it doesn't work like 1 second and you go to one, try the second definition, then try the next word down. Adjacent, see the abbreviations for words and how do they correlate with like one above or one below and where did that word come from. I mean, the investigation of words is like, so it's a computer in a book, and that's so true. It was man has never been primitive, never. No, nope, it wasn't like that. They almost got annihilated by the Illuminati along the way many, many, many times. But the knowledge of being mechanically inclined and intelligent and God directed in the laboratory or with growth and food and medicine and all that has always been directed by God and very intelligent, of course. So don't let them ever fool you with that. And the history books not only were changed, but time was changed. And time was changed on Satan to trick him. That's the only trick God really did do was with the time. That's where the day is 1,000 years and 1,000 years is a day. And because he was basically kind of sent back to amoeba form and had to grow again. That's the long and the short of this. And then some people were mad because they thought their ancestors got slayed or something, and they don't realize how God holds his children no matter who they are. And there again, they're stepping in where they have no idea what they're doing to their own selves. Because when you piss with God and you don't trust him, you are treading on dangerous territory for yourself. And a big separation from God and his materials and cigarettes, food, air. Air is kind of important if you want to live. Your mind will still be with no air. Not your brain, your mind. You know? Maybe not even a soul. That can be taken. they'll take it. That's a fact. So, so that's a little on the language thing. Then the codes do correlate in the King James Bible and the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. And that code is the code for reading the blue book that the Masons wrote and all about their agenda. That is Revelations in the Bible. And it is no joke. Because, like I said, God decided to adopt that. He said, oh, little. Well, then we'll just make this come true. See how they like that? We'll play this out. So you give them a little bit of rein. It's just like a horse if you want it to kind of canter or trot. Just give it a little bit of rein and say, okay, do what you want to do. Feel free. Then when he ganks them reins up and sets you on your ass, or the kind of horseman I am, make a horse lay down by being on top its back. You know, that's a powerful thing. And that kind of is the correlation with God. He's like that rider on top of your back. He's controlling your ass with that bridle and them reins. And that saddle, period. You know? Ropes. When I get out my 30-foot rope when my horse was being a jackass, I told her, you want me to go get the rope? And I said, don't be a bitch. And she started behaving. Did she see that rope? I know. I showed her. I threw it way up on a pole, way above my head. I lassoed that pole and I ganked it. I said, that's going to be your head. You know, and she looked at me like, I'm like, well, I undid it. I said, hey, you're okay. Just be cool. Because she was trying to be a jackass with me being pushy. And she thought she could do that because one of her owners was a little girl that she pushed around. And they got way too big of a horse. The biggest mare I have ever seen. And not now. She's older. But, you know, the strongest thing on the planet. They get for beautiful to show, you know, but it's like, oh, that's crazy for your little girl. You want her to die? So anyway, so she was pushy. Then she had guys pushing her around, and yeah, she had a rough life before I got her. But yeah, she's pretty spoiled now. But I got her under control, and that's what God does too. He gets on our backs and he says, you know what, you aren't doing that. Because if I have to, I'll wrap that rope around their hoofs, all four of them, and I'll flop them right on their ass. You know, they play, I play, that type of thing. So, yeah, you can wrap a horse up and tip it over. Seriously. So, yeah, that's possible. And I used to throw calves and we'd brand them, and that was my favorite thing about being a ranch hand was branding time. Not that I liked the branding or castrating the calves. It was the throwing the calves. Two of us, we'd one take the head, one take the back. I'd take the back. I got kicked once, but that was enough in my hand. Whoa, the sickness, and I had to work through it, you know, that thing. And but I learned. I never got kicked again. And boy, that little hoof and that little like 150-pound calf, like we were the same size, you know. It's like, God dang it, you know. But yeah, you get up behind them and you grab their leg, and the other one grab